Hi friends, this week we are moving into science for our content lesson, and I love science. I find it very fun, and I think you're really going to enjoy what we're learning about this month. This month we're going to be learning about the sun and the moon. And when we're learning about the sun and the moon, and during all of our science classes, we are always scientists. And so scientists have certain things that they have to do. That's what this video is about. So the first thing we're going to learn that scientists do is observe. Observe is an interesting word. Usually when we think about observing something, we're thinking about seeing something, like I observed so-and-so walking through the hallway, or I observed the menu that was on display, or I made a good observation saying that I saw something that my mom didn't see in the store. And usually when we think of observe, we're thinking about just what we see. But in science, observe means more than just seeing. In science, observe means to notice and take information from what we notice. And I could notice a lot of things. For instance, when I started working on this lesson, I noticed that the sound I was hearing was not the sound that I had been hearing before. It sort of sounded like this. I'm not sure if you can hear that. But it was like a pitter-patter. And I looked up from my computer because I noticed this sound. I observed the sound. And I said to myself, that is different. I wasn't hearing that before. And it sounds very similar to a sound of rain hitting. And then you know what I heard? What I observed? I observed the children that were on the playground screaming and running back inside very quickly. And so I really couldn't see too much rain come down, but because of my observations, I figured out that it was raining. And guess what? All of a sudden, whoosh, the rain came down. And that rain, I couldn't see it at first, but it had started, and that's why I couldn't see it. But I was able to observe things. I heard the pitter-patter that was hitting my window, I guess. And then I heard the children at recess that were screaming because they were getting wet. And then when I looked out my window, I saw the children running into the building. And so not only did I see things when I observed, I also heard things. And that was the first observation I made. So another thing that we could observe and gather information about is think about maybe if you're really lucky when you come inside from playing outside and you smell something yummy. Is it dinner? Can you figure out what mom or dad is making for dinner based on your observation? Maybe it's your absolute favorite. Maybe you're having lasagna, or maybe you're having some garlic chicken, or maybe you're super lucky and it's not dinner and it's chocolate chip cookies. That would be awesome, right? But we can observe and we take information in because we know that somebody is cooking, something smells yummy, and so we're smelling to observe. So we can hear, we can see, we can smell, and another way we can observe is feeling things. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I have to get up in the middle of the night and because I have to go to the bathroom. And have you ever had that happen? Yeah. And what I observe is when I run into something, I can feel that and I take that information in. For instance, Mrs. McClune really can't see at all when I don't have contacts in my eyes. And so I kind of have to observe by hitting the wall, especially when I'm in a hotel, because I'm not used to the way it's set up. So I might hit something and oh, hey, that's the wall right there. I take that information in. Or, oh, my foot just hit that chair. And so then I take that information, I go, I don't want to do that again, and I walk around it. So I observed, I took information in because I was feeling it. And then the last way, and this way is not usually used by a scientist because it's not always a safe method, but we use our mouths, we taste things sometimes to observe. And there's special people called food scientists, which I wish I would have done that when I was younger because what a cool job. I want to make candies and different foods. And I didn't even realize that that was a job I could do. Think about how cool that would be. But these food scientists, they have to taste things to make observations as, oh, okay, that tastes good together. The peanut butter, the chocolate, oh yeah, that tastes really good together. Or they have to taste and say, oh, you know what, that's too much chocolate, or that's too much peanut butter. Or, hey, how about we put jelly beans in peanut butter? And then they taste it and they go, oh, that was not a good idea. But scientists can sometimes, depending on their jobs, they can taste to observe. And we can be food critics, right? And we can taste things and say, oh, Mom, this is yummy. This is so good. Or if we're really good, we might say, Mother, I think you put some extra basil in our spaghetti sauce tonight. If we can really tell. That's tricky. It takes a lot of observing, noticing, and using our taste buds to figure out exactly the ingredients. But chefs are able to do that. And chefs are scientists. Did you know that? They really are, because they have to learn a whole bunch of chemistry and how ingredients work together. And when we do things to them, like heat them up, that's an actual science activity. They have to heat things up to change them. Yeah, chefs are scientists. And so they do a lot of tasting too. So we observe. There's lots of ways. And this week, actually for the next month, you're going to get to observe. So if I'm observing, guess what? We're going to do two ways of observing. We're going to do that first one that we thought of, the seeing, but we're also going to do the feeling. And maybe not feeling with our hands, because that would be hard for this one, but we can feel it on our bodies, and that's going to make more sense in a minute. So, what do I want you to do to observe this week? Well, I want you to observe the sun. And the way we're going to do that is we are going to draw a picture. Now, there's some rules about how I want you to draw my picture. Let me pull my rules up for myself so I don't miss any. The way we're going to do this is you are going to need to go outside with a piece of paper and pencil or crayons. I would love if you use crayons. And I want you to draw something that includes the sky. Okay? You need something that does not move to be in your picture. So I actually sat on my front porch, and I have a tree in my picture, and I also have my neighbor, Mr. Baker. I have his house in my picture. And those two things don't move. So I needed to draw those two things, but then I also need to leave room up for the sky, because what we're observing is actually the sun this week. So here's the deal. You're going to go outside, and I want you to sit in the exact same spot 3 times in one day. Got that? 3 times, one day. And you are going to just, first time, draw your picture. The house, the tree, the playhouse, whatever is going to be the one thing you're looking at when you draw. And you need to be able to see the sun in your picture. So when you go out there, don't turn and have the sun facing your back. You have to be able to see the sun, and then choose something that's going to stay still so you can see it in your drawing. Okay? Then you have to do that in the morning. So before 10 a.m., you have to do that. So probably you're going to need to do this before you actually meet with me. So that would be like before 9. Actually, I'll say before 9 o'clock I need you to do this, because you have to get on the computer at 9 for your specialist classes. So before 9 o'clock, go out, start your picture. In that first time, you have to draw where the sun is. Now notice my sun is way down here, because I was up super early and I was actually seeing the sunrise when I did my picture. Now, you're going to come out, do that part, you're going to go back in, you're going to do your classes, and then at lunchtime, when you have a break, between 12 and 1, I want you to go back outside, sit in the exact same spot, face the exact same way, and I want you to draw the sun again. Now, in my picture, the sun's way up here. It was actually about 12:40 when I drew it. It was very high in the sky, maybe a little bit over, but that's where it was in my picture about that time. That's all you need to draw the second time out, right? Very easy. We're observing. We're noticing with our eyes where the sun is. But the other thing I want you to observe is, what does it feel like? When I went out, it was chilly. It was cold. I actually had a sweatshirt on. I had my socks and my shoes. I had sweatpants on. It was cold. When I went out later, I actually had shorts on and my sweatshirt because I was getting really warm that day. And then, for your third time out, you're going to go out, you're going to sit in the exact same spot, you're going to face the exact same way, and you're going to draw where the sun is then. And this one has to be after 5 o'clock and before the sun goes down. So it has to be after 5, before the sun goes down. You need to be able to see the sun. And again, I want you to observe, notice where the sun is, draw it on your picture as it relates to wherever you started. And then I want you to notice again the feeling. What's the temperature like? I actually was quite comfortable when I did mine. It was about 5. I was quite comfortable in my sweatshirt and my shorts still, but it was getting cooler during that time. So I observed that. I noticed that. So that's it. I know that's a pretty big assignment of what to do for your picture, but the rules, my instructions are on the next slide. So make sure you follow those instructions, and then you have to bring this picture to our class Friday at 10:30 because we're going to talk about what we observed, and we're going to gather information from each other. All right, that's it for this week.